We'll start with Chris Christie. The governor of New Jersey is someone who was on top of his game 4 years ago, but has steadily declined since then.
I went from 6 minutes in the first debate to 7 minutes last night, so I'm making incremental progress.
Despite brief flashes of brilliance, many experts believed he missed his chance to become an all-time great. Christie is the Justin Verlander of the GOP field. Up next, we have Jeb Bush, a solid candidate coming from one of the most important families in American political history. But you can't help but feel that he'll never live up to the accomplishments of his father and brother.
So 40 years ago, I smoked marijuana, and I admit it. I'm sure that other people might have done it and may not want to say it in front of 25 million people. My mom's not happy that I just did.
Jeb Bush is this race's Eli Manning. John Kasich is the governor of Ohio and a candidate that few people dislike, but even fewer actively support. In a way, he's the definition of average.
At the end of the day, I'm going to continue to talk about my record because do you ever notice when people run for office, they run for president, they make a lot of promises, they don't keep them.
Kasich is the Andy Dalton of the GOP field. Rand Paul is a fringe candidate who you just feel is unlikely to live up to his family name and his father's success.
I think that America has to take a different attitude.
Rand Paul is the GOP's Austin Rivers. Mike Huckabee was once very popular for a brief period of time as he won the 2008 Iowa caucus, but after eventually failing on the big stage, he left to take a job as a TV personality.
What else is it other than the criminalization of her faith and the exaltation of the faith of everyone else who might be a Fort Hood shooter or a detainee at Gitmo?
Now people are wondering why he's even still trying. Mike Huckabee is the Tim Tebow of the Republican field. Marco Rubio is a Cuban-American candidate who's not afraid to bring up his cultural heritage. Most of his supporters come from southern Florida, and he was once considered one of the GOP's top up-and-coming prospects.
We have a legal immigration system that no longer works.
He's one of the youngest ace-quality candidates in the field. Marco Rubio is the GOP's Jose Fernandez. Ben Carson is a candidate that came out of nowhere this year and surprised everyone with how well he was doing.
How are young people ever going to get a job if you have such a high minimum wage that it makes it impractical to hire them?
However, over the weekend, he made a huge mistake that could be his downfall. Carson is this race's Cardell Jones. Ted Cruz is a polarizing candidate that doesn't have a great chance of succeeding in this race.
This deal on its face will send over $100 billion to the Ayatollah Khamenei, making the Obama administration the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism.
Whether you agree with him or not, Cruz may be one of the smartest candidates, as he has degrees from 2 Ivy League universities. This makes Cruz the field's Ryan Fitzpatrick. George Pataki is by far the oldest candidate in the GOP field, and he hasn't been relevant for about a decade, peaking in 2005. But somehow, he's still around.
I think she should have been fired, and if she'd worked for me, I would have fired her.
Pataki is the GOP's Bartolo Colon. And now the candidate you've all been waiting for, Donald Trump. Trump is the wealthiest, most outspoken, polarizing figure in the GOP race. He's beholden to no one and honestly does not care what you think.
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there.
He isn't afraid to flaunt his wealth and say outlandish things and get under the skin of women.
In an interview last week in Rolling Stone magazine, Donald Trump said the following about you, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance.
In every way imaginable, Donald Trump is the GOP's Floyd Money Mayweather. That's it for the Republican field. Hopefully none of the athletes I mentioned enter the race. Up next, Ben and Connor and their teams will compete in NFL trivia.